Hello friends, Mystery here, and today it's time for a Hive Scum build. It's been a while since I've talked about this guy. I'm going to get back on the old horse. I got to tune up my old builds and come up with some new ones because there is certainly a lot to be gained here. Hive Scum being easily one of the most powerful classes in the game. He's everybody's favorite insano, hyper-scaling, nonsense melee character, and he can basically take any weapon that would be considered like mid or like, 75% power level on any other character and take it to 150% power level. And that's what we're going to be doing today with the Rashad Combat Axe here. This thing is one of the OG weapons, a primeval weapon wrecked from the dawn of time of Darktide, basically. And it happens to be that this weapon, it's okay on many other classes, but it absolutely has insane scaling on the Hive Scum specifically because of some of this stuff right here. So first of all, we have finesse, first target, and penetration. This all adds up to making this thing hit like an absolute truck on carapace, on flak, on headshots, on criticals, and yeah, it just absolutely destroys with those shots. And that is why when we're building this thing, we're going to spec into Unyielding and Carapace, basically the only two types of abilities that we are not going to be able to one-shot with this build. Then as far as our blessings here, we will be taking Decapitator, which is a 24% stacking finesse bonus for 8 seconds, that lasts for 8 seconds, on enemy one-shot, which is super easy to do with this weapon because it has such a high base damage, and we're going to be scaling that even further. And then we're going to add Shred in here because this thing is going to be already so scaled up. We're going to have so many buffs to our damage already. The best way we can boost it from there is to turn that into a critical, because that will just do absolutely decimating sorts of damage. So you can see here, if we're going to do a regular hit on a boss on the body, 569, a weak spot would be almost double with 964, a critical would be fully double with 1108, and a critical weak spot is triple that damage. And this is massive. This is massive. We're talking dealing, between 5 and 10,000 damage per hit on a boss really simply. So that's the melee weapon here. For ranged weapons, it's going to be the same range weapon I always recommend on the Hive Scum. I know it's super boring, but it's incredibly effective, and I cannot deny that power, which is the needle pistol, the Mark II needle pistol with minimal damage. Remember, damage does not affect this weapon at all. It only affects the direct damage of the needle, not the toxin, which is all we're here for anyway. And the more important part of this is putting Unyielding and Carapace on there, and Run and Gun and Strip Down, which means that if you have a Reaper, you see you got some Reapers over there, pretend this guy's shooting at me, right? Normally, if I wanted to get towards him, oh no, I'm getting shot, yeah. But now I can run towards him, and as long as my stamina bar there is over 50%, he can't hurt me. So all this time, I'm immune to all range damage, and if I want to get some stamina back, I can slide and get it back like that, because of course, Hive Scum things. And then, because of the Run and Gun, I can simply do a little drive-by on him, and then regenerate my stamina as I skirt away and he dies in the background. And yeah, this is on Havoc 40 scaling, so yeah, that's what you can expect to do on Havoc 40. Anytime there's any danger, just pull out your needle pistol and run away, or run to combat. As far as our Curios down here, I'll leave this up to you in terms of how you want to balance your various defense versus offense. I'm a pretty confident Hive Scum player, so I have allocated myself 1 maximum toughness Curio and then 2 maximum stamina Curios, the +3s, so that I'm getting a bunch of extra attack speed. This is 12% extra attack speed here, and a bunch extra stamina that allows us to do, our sprinting and stuff. Then as far, I don't know why I have block cost reduction on there. Maybe I can change it over, but I wouldn't have the block cost reduction on there if I was paying attention. Anyway, as far as what should be on these Curios, just do 3 stamina regenerations, 3 combat ability regenerations, and 3 ally revive speeds, and you'll be all set. I think that's just do them like this one right here. And if you want to swap more toughness in, that's good. You're going to be losing attack speed. Just keep that in mind, and losing stamina, but it might make you more safe if you're not quite as experienced. Okay, now let's go on to our talent tree here. And we'll leave the stim lab because it's shorter. I'm choosing a stim lab that looks something like this. It's not a stim focused build. Stims are nice when you have them to really pump some extra damage. This will have about a 1 and 15 second cooldown between the duration and this time right here. So we're going to add an extra 12% attack speed with some stamina cost reduction, which is nice. And then we're going to add in all of this extra strength here, plus some more crit chance. Crit is very important. We're going to get reasonably high crit, but this will boost it even higher. And yeah, when you're hitting a crit, it's a big multiplier on everything else. So yeah, that's like the one thing we're not capped out on. We get tons of finesse, and we don't suffer on bending, but crit is very nice. Okay, let's go into the talent tree now. Starting off here at the top, quick and deadly. Dodging gives us damage, precision violence for toughness regen, tertium welcome, float like a butterfly for more crit, then toughness boost, and we're going to take the rocket launcher just because it's such a simple, easy, sort of fuck you, everything dies button. Tisbit Scratch, then Nimble to remain very light on our feet. Sample Collector, then Anarchist for more crit. Blessed Stims, and then here's Rampage with these 3 modifiers right here. Forge's Bellow, which will give us lots of space, staggering enemies, allowing us to get in there and start doing our menacing bullshit, knock them all down. We can knock bosses backwards, and it activates again when your ability runs out. So if you're grabbed or pounced or whatever, and this runs out, you'll shot everything back and knock them off. Polarizing Strikes is very good for boosting our cleave, and then Boiling Blood to extend the duration. Over here on the left, we'll go Crit Chance, Swift Endurance for that aforementioned, a bunch of extra attack speed. We're sitting at currently, yeah, we've got 12 stacks, right? So that means we are going to be getting 24% additional attack speed, meaning our combat axe can attack like this, and that's at a baseline. That's very, very fast. And then Sweet Spot, and finally Channel Devastation, which can upgrade our damage even further. A lot of additional damage out of this because we're at 15%, or 30% critical chance all the time. Then we're going to go Melee Damage Boost, Battering Strikes, Hive City Brawler, Punching Above One's Weight, and Hyper Violence isn't going to be active all the time in this build because the Combat Axe isn't the fastest attacking weapon in the world. However, when it does proc, you'll really notice it. It does some insane damage. So if we're ulting it and we just like pop a guy's head off here and pop a guy's head off here, then we can go over here and just start dropping in these massive, really massive hits that just chop them apart instantaneously, and then we just finish them off in one hit like that. Okay, there you go. There we go. Now we're working up the damage levels. So yeah, that's the power of that blessing there. Is it can carry over damage. It can really serve well when you're in a horde like this because it can carry that damage between these little kills into bigger ones where you just like slap a guy's head off and then turn into go into like your friend over here. So yeah, and then boom, there you go. So that's the power of Hyper Violence. It won't be useful all the time, but it is very, very big when it starts popping off. And finally, we got down here our friend Adrenaline Frenzy. Now, this is not always the right choice in terms of melee builds, but it's very, very good here because it adds extra attack speed for us, more base damages, and also we can have this up with incredible frequency, especially on Havoc 40 because of Adrenaline Smiter. This is a stupid node. Getting 14 additional stacks, up to 15 stacks, half of your, half of the buff total you need in order to get this buff off of one elite kill is really stupid. So yeah, we just kill one elite and we're halfway to our goal, killing a second one. There we go. We got a refresh on our ability here. And while this is active, we're getting the 10% attack speed, we're getting 25% melee damage, and we're going to get 5% toughness per second. It's not the craziest, most complex buff in the world, but it's pretty good. And we don't need any of this toxin stuff because we're not really doing any toxins, so we can skip over that entirely. And it's that simple. All you got to do is activate Rampage, shoot up a stim if you got it, then go and whack the heads off of a bunch of these lower tier guys, and then we'll just scale up and start whacking onto bosses. We'll deal like 10 to 14,000 damage without having any hyper violence going, which is incredible. Blows these guys away. You'll see some of that in the footage that this boss is going to just dunk on a lot of high health enemies, and it's super unga bunga. It's a very blunt force sort of weapon, but it's very fun and it's very, very effective. It can absolutely dunk stuff. I hope you enjoy playing with it, and here's some more footage if you want to see how I pilot this thing in a Hive 40.